The world loves you until they do not need you. People praise you in sunlight and forget you in shadow. This is not a moral judgment, it is a social fact. This is the theme of today: conditional affection and the intelligence that protects you from it. Call it strategic attachment awareness, a set of mental habits that let you see who values you and why, and most importantly, how to act so you keep dignity and power when needs change. I speak from observation, not cynicism. I grew up watching favors exchanged like currency and friendships traded like goods, and that shaped how I learned to move. Today, you will learn 8 traits that turn dependence into deliberate strength. I will explain each trait, give examples you can use tomorrow, and leave you with a 7-day task that changes how you respond to people who love you until they do not. Use this to defend your life and your choices, not to manipulate or harm. If you agree with that rule, write in the comments, "I am learning to be strategically attached, not emotionally dependent." Now breathe, listen, and pay attention. Number 1 begins now. Context first. People abandon usefulness with less drama than you expect. A coworker who laughed at your joke will not attend your funeral if you no longer solve their problems. Social bonds are expensive, and humans optimize cost. We trade warmth for benefit, often without realizing it. You have seen it. A friend is present during your promotion, but absent when you are sick. A partner is near when convenience aligns, but distant otherwise. This is what the phrase, "people love you until they do not need you," condenses into a map. It is not intended to make you distrustful of everyone, but to teach you to value signals and structure your life so your identity is not consumed by another person's demand. As Sun Tzu taught about terrain and advantage, you must read the terrain of relationships and move where advantage is sustainable. Now, number 1, calculated opacity. Calculated opacity is the art of revealing just enough so people feel engaged, but never so much that your inner leverage is spent. Picture a jar of water on a table. If you pour it all out at once, thirst is quenched and you are empty. If you pour in measures, you remain necessary. Example: at work, do not volunteer your entire process on day 1. Share results and a controlled outline of your methods. Sensory note: see the cool reflection on the table, hear the soft clink of the glass, smell coffee in the morning, feel the smooth rim under your fingers. Technique: practice saying one sentence that summarizes your work and one sentence that invites curiosity. Micro-story: Mark was the go-to person until he answered every question in full. People stopped calling because he had nothing left to teach. Now Mark limits his explanations and is called back. Number 2, adaptive persona. Being adaptable does not mean being fake. It means sliding the best part of you forward where it is rewarded and holding the rest in reserve. Think of water that flows into a cup yet keeps its cool. At a negotiation, you mirror tone and then lead it. In relationships, you adjust timing and energy to match need while protecting core boundaries. Sensory details: taste of mint gum in a tense elevator, the faint rustle of a coat when someone steps closer, light shifting across a table when a conversation cools. Example: Lena learned to match her manager's pace in meetings and then politely redirected conversation to long-term strategy. That small tactical shift changed how people valued her. Use adaptation as a tool, not an identity. Number 3, detachment as clarity. Detachment is not indifference. It is clarity of where your responsibility ends. Imagine a negotiation where 2 people argue over a seat. One gets loud, the other steps back, breathes, and offers a solution that changes the frame of the argument. That step back is detachment. Scene: I watched a negotiation in a small office where Carlos and Priya argued over a client lead. The room smelled of lemon cleaner, the fluorescent lights hummed, the courtyard noise leaked through the window, and the air felt warm and slightly stale. Dialogue exchange. Carlos said, "I did the work, so I deserve the lead." Priya replied, "You did part of it, but the client told me they preferred my approach." Carlos snapped, "But you knew the budget." Priya paused and lowered her voice and said, "We both contributed. Here is a way to split credit and keep momentum." The pause changed everything. Sensory. You could hear a paper cup crinkle, see the bead of sweat on Carlos's temple, taste the metallic tang of urgency. Practical move. When emotions rise, ask 2 questions silently. What is mine to fix? What is mine to accept? Detachment cleans the lens so you act from choice, not reaction. Number 4. Silent leverage. This is power that builds in the quiet. It is the person who sends a short email that reshapes a project. The leader who sits in silence until others reveal strategy. Think of a chess player holding position until the opponent oversteps. Example. Daniel stopped interrupting meetings and let silence hang. People started filling it with concessions. Sensory notes. The click of a pen, the cool air from the vent, the soft thud of a laptop closing, the taste of coffee left at the bottom of a mug. Technique. Use pauses of 3 to 7 seconds after a question, and you will be surprised who fills them with truth. Number 5. Psychological echo. This is how ideas reverberate after you speak. Plant a small image, a phrase, a question, and let it echo. The framework I use has 3 silent questions to seed an echo. What do you want? What will you lose? Who will notice? Example. Sarah introduced a proposal with 1 line about risk and then left. Weeks later, executives returned to her because her line had lodged in their thinking. Sensory. The echo feels like a soft repetition in the mind, like the scent of rain that returns days after a storm, like the faint vibration of a bass note under conversation. Use echoes to guide decisions without direct pressure. Number 6. Ambiguous morality. This is the hardest to explain because it sits in the gray. It is the willingness to act pragmatically while holding clear ethical boundaries. It is saying no to a lucrative but compromising deal. It is accepting a small loss to preserve longer-term trust. Microscene. During a board meeting, the CEO offered a shortcut that felt wrong. The lights were bright, the coffee bitter, the carpet wore grooves by the chairs, and there was a subtle scent of cologne that reminded me of old power games. Dialogue. The CEO said, "This will boost revenue fast." A junior director asked, "And what about reputation?" The CEO answered, "Reputation recovers." The junior director replied, "I think we will lose clients we value." That exchange shifted the room. Sensory. You heard the intake of breath, saw a hand trembling, felt the thump of a dropped fork in the back kitchen. Tension moment 1. For a full minute, the room held like a wire about to snap. You could hear nothing but that small hum of the air conditioning and the rapid tick of a watch in my pocket. Faces sharpened, palms went slick, voices softened to testing tones. That tension tasted metallic and smelled like the coffee left to cool. The choice then was a moral and strategic turning point, and it was resolved with a sentence that weighed both. Number 7. Controlled exposure. Reveal information in stages so value remains. Online, share results, not process. Offline, reveal an anecdote that proves competence but keeps method private. Example. Omar shares 3 wins publicly and keeps the rest for direct conversations. Sensory. The click of a camera, the glow of a phone screen, the faint scent of a studio light, the feeling of a script between fingers. Technique. Design a 3-stage reveal for any skill. Proof, structure, invitation. Stage 1 proves you can do it. Stage 2 shows the skeleton. Stage 3 invites collaboration. Number 8. Outcome obsession. Focus less on busy work and more on the result that matters. Activity often disguises avoidance. The disciplined leader measures outcomes, not efforts. Micro story. Priya used to log hours like a badge until she tracked client retention instead. Her calendar smelled of takeout and late nights, her chair had a familiar indentation, her keyboard had a warm spot from long typing. She shifted focus, and clients stayed. Sensory. The relief of a closed laptop, the coolness of evening air, the sudden quiet after a deadline. Practical exercise. Identify one metric that truly matters in your current priority and ignore peripheral noise until that metric improves. Now, a brief practical checkpoint and a request. If what I said already stings, it means you are noticing patterns where you were blind. I know what that feels like because I have been there. If you have ever been praised until you lost your usefulness, you know the betrayal and the lesson. For the next 7 days, do this practice. Day 1. Observe how many interactions are need-based and how many are genuine. Day 2. Practice calculated opacity in one conversation. Day 3. Use adaptation without losing a boundary. Day 4. Practice a 3 to 7 second pause in a meeting. Day 5. Plant a psychological echo in an email. Day 6. Withhold one method and offer a summary. Day 7. Measure one outcome and celebrate the result. Write in the comments the phrase, "I will practice strategic attachment for 7 days," and add which trait you will start with. When you comment, you help others see they are not alone, and you give me signals for future videos. I read comments and I respond when I can. Thank you for sharing. Now a second tension moment expanded. Recall a night when a close friend turned distant the moment success arrived. The apartment smelled of cheap incense, a vinyl record played low, the streetlight painted a thin rectangle across the floor, and your phone vibrated with messages that felt warm and then suddenly cold. Voices in your head argued, you could taste the salt of a sudden tear, and the coffee had gone bitter. It was a fracture that felt like a small knife opening a seam. For 5 minutes, you rehearsed words that would fix it. Then you chose silence and boundaries. That silence protected your dignity and allowed the relationship to settle into truth. That was the lesson. Backstory briefly now about why I say these things. When I was 8, my parents moved between jobs and people around us moved with convenience. I learned early that attention was conditional and that earned respect lasted longer than borrowed praise. In college, I worked nights to pay for classes and watched friendships reshape around convenience and access. As an adult, I sat in rooms where decisions were made and watched respect follow competence and recede with it. Those experiences taught me to design attachment with strategy rather than surrender. Names you will meet in these lessons include Mark, who learned restraint, Lena, who matched pace, Carlos and Priya, who negotiated with clarity, Daniel, who mastered silence, Sarah, who planted echoes, Omar, who staged his exposure, and a junior director who stood for reputation in a boardroom. Each of them showed a move you can emulate. Before I close, a few realistic scenarios and micro tools you can use now. At work, when someone asks you for help, do 3 things. Listen, restate the need in one line, and offer one time-limited help. In families, notice patterns of conditional affection and avoid rescuing unless the cost is acceptable. In romantic partnerships, set clear operating rules. What support looks like, what repair looks like, and what will lead to separation. Small scripts help. Example script for a manager asked to take extra work. I can help with this specific part by Friday, but I cannot take the entire project this time. That sentence protects you and offers value. Sensory reminder. Say it aloud and feel your feet on the ground. Notice the air in your chest. Listen to your voice match your intention. Long term, if you practice these 8 traits, you will change the gravity around you. In 1 month, you will feel less reactive and notice patterns. In 3 months, your circle will reorganize around people who offer reciprocal value. In 6 months, your calendar will reflect more deliberate commitments and fewer emergency rescues. Picture these 3 moments. 1 month from now, you will have tried opacity and felt the relief. 3 months from now, the people who remain will be clearer in their intentions. 6 months from now, you will have a rhythm where your energy is invested and returned. If you do this work, outcomes follow. Final promise and closing. These principles are not tricks to make others small. They are tools to keep you whole and effective. Power without purpose is empty. Use strategic attachment to protect your dignity, to choose who occupies your life, and to build real influence. If you will commit to the 7-day task, write in the comments the sentence, "I will practice strategic attachment for 7 days." If you want more practical guides on any of these traits, subscribe and I will make a step-by-step 30-day plan for the one you choose. Remember this final line and share it. People love you until they do not need you, but you can learn to be needed on your terms.